Hello everyone and welcome to the 15th round of the NEF1 Championship and what could be the final round of the Drivers' Championship hunt. Djokovic is now within touching distance of that championship as it was last week, but it will be much easier for him to clinch it this time. All he has to do is finish ahead of Matty and the championship is his. Also, if you look at the left-hand side of your screen, your eyes are not deceiving you. Nazi31 is back in NEF1 after a couple of months of a hiatus. He's back here for the Mexican Grand Prix. Hello everyone and welcome. As previously mentioned, this is the 15th round of the NEF1 Championship taking place around the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez circuit in Mexico City, Mexico. And it's the first time we're going here for quite a while. Not a track that NEF1 has too much history at. However, the two championship protagonists for this evening have previously made championship-ending contact here a couple of seasons back. Matty and Djokovic having an incident here a couple of seasons ago. But then let's hope that that does not happen tonight. Even if it does happen tonight, the effects are likely not going to be as substantial as they were back then. A couple of people out on track. Then we have NEF48 and NEF1, Spenclo, Squidge, Jamar, Zamo, and JV8. Also Matty Adam out on track already, but Noah's going along nicely here for what is a dry Mexican Grand Prix circuit, thankfully. My voice is a little bit sore. Let's hope that sorts itself out as we go along. As we go through the stadium section, that's looking quite empty on this game. Doesn't look nice and full. It looks kind of bland and lifeless. Here we go then, Noah through the final corner and start his first flying lap of the session. What is one of the quickest laps on the NEF1 calendar? Look at the lap times of around 1:15 here. So it does go by quick. As we go, heading into the first corner, it's a triple apex chicane this. Noah taking quite a bit of curb on that inside, touching the sausage curbs on the inside apex there, but might be what you have to do in order to get a bit of lap time around here. But this is a track where we expect qualifying pace to be substantially different from race pace as well. You have to drive the car in a significantly different way in order to protect your rear tyres that are going to be absolutely burning after a couple of fast laps around here. This S sector, I'm sorry, is going to be a nightmare for a lot of these drivers. Let's see who gets caught out first. Beat is currently going through there on an out lap, not a fast lap, and there's a Sauber very well in the way of NEF48 and NEF1. But he still says 1:15.237, so relatively competitive, but it will have been slightly held by the Sauber if that was Ipsk dude heading down into the first corner, who should probably have gotten out of the way a bit earlier there. As JV8 is about to come across the line to set a 1:16.620, and then we have an Alpine is that Darren Stelz about to start a flying lap. We also have a Red Bull who's about to cross the line. That is going to be Squidge, who jumps up in P2. Decent effort from him. Coming across the line next we have as for Jamar on an invalidated lap, and Matty Adams 16 on a lap that I don't think has been invalidated. No, it is not. Where is he going to end up? It's P3 for the Ferrari man. 6/10 of a second behind in NEF48 and NEF1, who set that lap on soft tyres. So a bit of a tyre offset. Watts, race winner this season, is next to cross the line. Then has had a very good season so far, and especially the last couple of races. And it goes up to P6. This Watts with a 16.292. Decent effort. Teammates Jamar is going slowly through sector 1 at the moment. Djokovic goes fastest out of anyone on a 15.164. Tess is still in the pit lane. Darren Style now through the S section, and he is heading towards the stadium section. It is looking bland and lifeless on this game. Is it just me? Is it looking bland and lifeless? I think so. As Noah's retired in the pit lane, we'll see him again for Q2. Not facing elimination. Here we go then. Darren Style comes across with P7. We are going to see 2 people eliminated at the end of this section. At the end of this session, sorry. And here we go. Nasi31, welcome back to NEF1, mate. Hopefully you've had a good time whilst you've been off. But we are very, very excited to have you back. So, this is going to be an interesting one. This is massively going to shake up the constructor standings as well. It is going to make it that much harder for Ferrari to catch Aston Martin now. We'll see how this little battle goes. Nasi31, welcome back home. As Tess now is on an outlap as well, he's following Nasi along. As BT sound sort of hard tires in Q1, which I think might be the first time we've seen this season. Don't often see hard tires on. We used to see the intermediates quite a lot before we banned that, so BT might be responding by putting hard tires on. Interesting choice, interesting choice. Dan Styles had a good session so far. Some of the P7 with a 116.128, and the cars is currently in the drop zone. Potentially the 2 fastest drivers in the league of Tess and Nasi. But then Nasi for his first competitive lap back through the fast chicane, then a lot of inside curb there. A lot of inside curb and a lot of exit curb before you open up that DRS on the second straight down to turn 4. This is turn into turn 4 and 5 chicane. And then the turn 6 hairpin before the S section. That's a very, very decent lap so far from Nasi31. Test also on a set of mediums. So watch these sector times as they come across the timing line here. So Nasi with 55.9, Tess with a 55.8. So it is close between the two, but Tess at the moment with the slight advantage. As here when going through the final corner. This is a place where you can apparently gain a little bit of time. Nasi goes quickest out of anyone by a margin. Tess just beats him by about 1/10 of a second. So then, Tess and Nasi straight up into P1 and P2. Nasi, welcome back to New Era, buddy. We missed you. It's Hybrid then the only driver yet to have set a time in this session. Ipsdude at the moment on a 118.328. Needs to improve by 2 seconds at least in order to make it up to P15, where his teammate is currently occupying that last Q2 slot. So 2 people are going to be eliminated. We're doing Q1, Q2, and Q3 as is usual in NEF1. 2 people are going to be eliminated here in Q1, 5 people in Q2, and a top 10 shootout for Q3 as we usually do. And I reckon qualifying around this track is actually going to be quite interesting. We'll wait and see before we make a judgment on it. But Mexico is one of those tracks that should realistically be able to provide a decent race. Overtaking, I don't think is going to be too difficult around here with a massive back straight as well. As Nasi decides to make a late pit entry there. And so is iWatts coming into the pit lane. What is Samo Bamo doing? He's actually down a little below comfort, as both Djokovic and Noah are now retired from this session. As Hybrid's out hunting for time, and on his first flying lap this session. Squidge is out of the session as well, has retired, feeling like he's safe. So Hybrid getting very close to the track limit lines. Just needs to get a decent banker in. He is quick enough to absolutely go through on a solid lap from him. He's not going to need a wildie. That's a good S section. That's a very good X section. This car looks planted through there on this game in a different way that it's done on the last couple of game cycles. It looks more planted going through those X sections. Please let me know if I'm wrong. But it looks well more sticky. As Hybrid runs the final corner then, and it's a 1:15.965, puts him up into the top 10, and that is both the Saubers at the moment in the drop zone. As Adam Beatty saying track is a lot grippier, which is nice to see. Hopefully should provide for some decent racing. Matty's also pointing out that Nassi's showing no rust whatsoever. He is most likely not. The only problem around this place is that the rear tires apparently overheats a lot, but that makes sense due to the heavy amount of acceleration zones. So then JV8's gonna need to improve by a couple of tenths. He'll be targeting a 3-4 tenth improvement. We'll get him past BT, maybe Darren. Get that improvement going. At the moment he's down 4 seconds, so this is not going to be an improvement. This is not going to be an improvement whatsoever. We've got 6:20 to go. So still quite a bit of time left on the clock. Hybrid then, is he going for another run here perhaps, or is he doing a race run? I think he might have been charging up for another go. The same set of tires though. And this is a track where I imagine battery management could be quite tricky, as there's a lot of places where you'd want to deploy. And I wouldn't discount a cheeky little dive down inside heading into the stadium section as well. I wouldn't count that move out. So battery management is going to be key here. JV8's coming into the pit lane with 5:30 to go. So at the moment as well, the maths here is simple. If Djokovic outscores Matty, it does not matter by how much, he is going to be crowned a 3-time NEF1 champion. The Constructors' Championship cannot be settled today, but the Drivers is not looking unlikely that we crown ourselves a new champion here here tonight. Should be the first time it's crowned in Mexico in NEF1 as well. Hybrid just missed out on an improvement by a couple of thousandths of a second, 14 thousandths to be exact. As here goes Wigan around the castle, or around the, not the castle section. Here we go again with the commentary blinders. The stadium section, it's called. Not the castle section, that's a couple of thousandths of miles away. Here we go then, Wigan 71 in that second Aston Martin. The other one's up in a P3 at the moment, and we'll want to make sure he does not get any chance of being eliminated here in Q1. Bit squealy on the brakes there heading into turn 1. I don't know if that actually means anything, or if it's just noises produced by the lovely game. But it's an Aston Martin that's looking aggressive at the moment. And that sounded almost flat, which I'm very curious to see if it was. So then, Wigan through the stadium section. Again, I'm gonna end up calling that the castle section on a number of occasions throughout this stream, I'm afraid. I can already feel it happening, and this is gonna be an improvement for Wigan, and it's up to P7, 15.631. Half second slower than his teammate, straight up into the top 10, ahead of Matty, ahead of Jamar, ahead of Ginstis. That's a good lap from Wigan Van. It's gotten him out of danger zone. JV8 and Ipsdu then are out on laps, and they need to improve by a couple of attempts and over a second respectively. Samo and Iwatts at the moment, the drivers under pressure. Iwatts holding station at the moment. I'd expect him to come out again. That RB, Beatty and Darren might just be safe. As Ipstud is not having a good time at it going through the stadium section. JV8 though is improving heading into the S's. It might be improving by enough to display Zamo Bamo here. And if Samo can then improve, Iwatts could be in a bit of trouble. As here we go, JVA, WP14. Now then, up to Samo to get out of the drop zone. Ipstud is into the pit lane. I think that is him out for the remainder of the session. Iwatts is flying out of that pit lane now. But he's not got a lot of time to make work of this. We'll see if he just gets through. But Iwatts left that late. And if Jay just put that lap in a bit later, that might have actually caught Iwatts out here, because Iwatts now very much the driver at risk, because we're expecting Samo to improve by at least a 10.42. Such is his quality. Iwatts almost caught with something in his hands. I'll let you fill in the blanks. As Samo's improving by over half a second, so he'll get himself into the top 10 with this effort. Iwatts now 30 seconds to go. And he is pushing like crazy to get this done, but he's just gonna get there in the end. Samo is through here. P6 and now Iwatts is going to have one more go at this to push JV8 out here. Jay maybe should have charged the batteries up and gone again. Realistically, I don't know if he didn't have enough fuel in his car for another run. But this is crucial then for Iwatts. Needs to improve. Actually, 0.02 of a second is going to suffice, because Jay is 1,000th ahead. 1,000th of a second. And Iwatts is improving. So this might have been a decent go at it for JV8, but I'm afraid it is going to end at a decent go at it. Iwatts, as long as he doesn't make any silly mistakes now, is just going to be able to squeeze through here at the end. Almost being caught unaware, but just getting through by the nick of time. And Iwatts makes it into P12 and up into Q2. JV8 and Ipstud are out of qualifying here. Darren makes it through by 10th of a second. And there you can see on the left hand side of your screen as well what tyre everyone did their qualifying on. So split between the mediums and the softs. The top runners on that medium tire. Djokovic worryingly 4 tenths off Tess, but good for him because he is well clear of championship rival Matty Adams 16. To be fair, who did qualify on the medium, so he's going to gain a couple of positions probably on, say, Samo and Wigan. But still needs to find a little bit of pace, maybe if he wants to get up towards Noah and Beatty, because those are handy laps even on soft tyres. But then we're looking at potentially even 13s from Tess and Nasi tonight. If they have a really good Q2 and Q3, we'll wait and see what happens. Into Q2 we go then. So it's looking significantly more overcast for Q2 than it did for Q1. Clouds are starting to surround this this Mexican Grand Prix circuit, but I don't think we're expecting rain. If we are, then please let me know, because it's always a bit awkward when rain starts falling at the very beginning of a qualifying session. As everyone is piling out in quick succession. Surely we're not going to have rain. It looks well too clear to be raining this session. Surely not. McGinnis is leading the pack out of the pit lane, man. Couple of people holding station, but they're just coming out one at a time right now. So we've got an RB, a Red Bull, a McLaren, and a Mercedes still in the pit. That is a BT, that is Tess, it is iWatts. And it is Hybrid and JMR as well. So 4 people's in the pit lane. 3 people's in the pit lane. So here we go then. Ginstis is going to be first to cross the line. He's going to be followed through by Darren Style later on. So we'll keep an eye on those two. But here we go. Ginstis, who had a very good qualifying last week out in COTA. Qualified on the front row of the grid. Unfortunately wasn't able to maintain that position at the start. Fell back quite significantly. But it still should serve as a little bit of a confidence boost that he is there on pace to be able to challenge towards the front. As here we go, and into the stadium section with Ginstis 83. Hybrid's been disqualified for going the wrong way. What's gone on there? I have no clue, but that is him out of this session, man. We'll be starting in P15. Ginstis 15.803. Darren, it's going to be a 115, 116, 106. So just goes that bit slower. We've got a McLaren of Noah 15.2, so quite a decent improvement. Matty's has 15.1 on a set of mediums as well, keep that in mind. Nasi goes even faster than that, 14.897, and here comes Tess across the line in just a moment on a set of mediums. Let's see what he's going to be able to do. Quickest out of anyone by just over a tenth of a second, 14.749. Where is championship leader Djokovic in all of this? Identical time, down to the thousandth of a second to Noah 48. I want to point this out as well. Noah, Djokovic and Zamo separated by 1,000th of a second. Free cars separated by 1,000th of a second. That is absolutely nothing. It's actually quite impressive. Squidge then the only one yet to have completed his lap. What's he gonna be able to do? He's gonna be able to do nothing as he has invalidated. He's going into the pit lane. As it looks like most people are. This is always the fun part of qualifying when you have very staged groups in qualifying. You don't really have much action in between. We have 9:48 to go. I don't think much is gonna happen throughout the next 5 minutes. And that is an invalidation from Jamar, just cutting the corner ever so slightly. That's lap time over and done with. Djokovic at the moment is improving through the stadium, which is a necessary improvement because he's not going to be able to get through into Q3 on that time. He might just be able to get through on this time, which is just over a 10th slower than Tess and just over a couple of hundreds quicker than Nassi. Decent effort from Djokovic, that on a set of worn medium tyres. And that lap time should see him through. With both Darren and Squidge then out on outlaps. Darren probably not too happy with his first run. Squidge definitely not happy with his first run. Both Matty and Zam at the moment with P5 and P6 for Scuderia Ferrari. That's a decent point for the Scuderia. Crucially for Samos, a qualifying Wigan, which is what he's got to be doing, and let Matty focus on Djokovic. But focusing on Djokovic at the moment, relatively hard, seeing how Djokovic is usually at the front, battling every single race and winning quite a lot of set races as well. As here we go then, heading into turn 1 for Squidge 2017 on his second attempt this session. First one was invalidated, I think, going through the stadium section, which I don't know what or how that really happened. As there we go, my controller decided at the worst possible time to run out of battery. Squidge has improved, or set a time of 1:14.9 P6.4 to get him up to P5 on a set of soft tires. Tess has improved on a set of mediums up to 1:14.469, which is absolutely mental. 4/10ths quicker at above Nasi and Djokovic. That is crazy on a set of medium tires. As here comes Darren around the final corner, then apologies for the previous interruption. Hopefully now it should be working. Please confirm that it is if you have the ability to. As Darren doesn't improve on that lap, I think he's just been charging up to start another flying lap here though. We're looking at these two. We're looking at Ginsis and Darren at the moment, trying to get out of the bottom 5. We're looking at Wigan and Iwatts as well. They're still in the pit lane, however, as Nas has improved 2/10ths up to a 6.46 compared to Tessa's 4.69. Relatively tight at front then, but not massively. Ginsis is invalidated that lap. As here we go, then Darren needs to improve by quite a few attempts to solidify himself in that top 10. That is tied at the moment, the top 10 is. Just over a second. As here we go, then Darren runs the final corner, needs to get a decent time on the board, and he does not do so. Improves by 5 thousandths of a second. Needs to go again. As Noah's now retired from the session, I don't think that's too risky of a move. As J-Man now is going to give his go, or his session, another go. P9 at the moment of 15.329. As long as you're in the 15s, you still might just be at risk here. I don't know. All depends a little bit on what this man's going to be able to set in terms of lifetime. Wigan 71. The loss of hybrid is massively affecting this session as well. So I believe he would have been up there fighting for the top 10. Squidge has been able to breach the top 2 on a set of soft tower. Okay, that makes sense. So here we go, Wigan then into the stadium section for what could be the last time this session. Last time to charge up and go one more time, but he'll need the fuel for that strategy. I don't know if he's kept that in mind. Tyres must also be alive. Here we go then, what is he going to be able to do? It's going to be up to P8, so inside top 10. Not convincingly, that's forced Jama down into P10. 2 minutes to go. Gins is out on track. We have Iwatts now heading out as well. So then it is heating up ever so slightly. Spenclose, Matty, Wiggins, Ammo, and Jamar. Question is Wiggins safe? Is Matty safe with that time? He's out again here, Matty. So Samo Bamo. Gins is now out yet again as well. Needs to improve by more than what Darren did one run ago, and I believe Darren might just be coming out of pit lane again. Which he'd have to in order to make it through this session, but I think he might be coming out too late if that's the case. And Darren has come out too late. Less than a minute ago, he's not going to be able to get out in time, unfortunately. That is Darren out of qualifying. Not going to be able to make it round, sadly, and that's him out in Q2. So who else do we have? Ginst is going through the S at the moment. He is not improving through the first sector. Is he going to be able to improve through the S's in the second sector? He is, but not by a massive amount. Not by the amount needed. And he is pulling into the pit lane. He's not completing this lap even. He's not even trying to improve past Beatty, which I think he maybe could have done. And that's a weird decision from Ginstis. Why would you give up on that lap? I don't know. Iwatts now is going to give this a go, but Samo, we're going to probably say Beatty might be able to force Jamar out of this session late. But Samo is now safe from elimination unless Iwatts can have an absolutely brilliant lap. Which isn't looking likely right now through the stadium section. And he fails to improve 1/10 behind Darren. Now, Beatty, is he going to be able to get into Q3 here at the expense of SFLY Jamar? It's going to be close. All depends on how good a sector Beatty can have in Sector 3. And is he going to be able to do it? It looks like it. Yes, he does. Up to P8 and Jamar's out of qualifying along with Ginstis, Darren, Iwatts and Hybrid. Samo just makes it through by less than 1/10 of a second. But I'm really surprised by that. Darren going out way too late. Gins is not completing his lap. Jamar not being able to find that crucial bit of time as well. That's a weird end to Q2. But looking at the battle in front, we have Tess and Nasi, the two quickest guys on track, along with Djokovic. Maybe Matty. I don't know what tie he set that lap on. Soft tires for Matty Adams 16. Which is just showing he's lacking a little bit of pace potentially around here, but he usually comes alive during the races on this game, Matty, so don't count him out. We'll wait and see. But it is going to be interesting. Iwatts is maybe complaining about losing half a second in Sector 1, which just by the look of things maybe could have gotten him through into Q3. Probably not, but maybe. As here we go, and we have 12 minutes of qualifying action left to go here in Mexico to settle the starting grid for the Mexican Grand Prix for what could be the last race of the Drivers' Championship campaign. The constructors will remain alive, but as mentioned, the drivers can be settled. Djokovic is one of the front runners along with Nasi and Tess, as he always says. Matt is there as well, doing everything he can to keep this championship alive for as long as he can. As thank you very much, Jamar, for the prolonged subscription. Means a lot, buddy. And thank you to everyone who is watching stream as well. If you're not already following our Twitch channel, make sure to do so. We go live this time every single Monday for another edition of the NEF1 Championship. Can't even speak. So if you're enjoying what you're seeing, then please make sure to leave us a follow or a nice little comment. It'll mean the world to us. Here we go then. About 10.5 minutes left in qualifying for the Mexican Grand Prix. Then we got a Ferrari still holding station in pit lane. We got two Ferrari holding station in pit lane. It's Matty and Zamo. Wonder if those two might try some sort of variant here in qualifying for a bit of a tow. They're coming out alongside each other, is the thing worth noticing. They're coming out next to each other, so might they just try to give each other a little bit of tow here in the last runs. Matty's come out behind Samo, which is the advantageous position. But he's now overtaken his teammate. Okay, so that might not have put too much into it. We'll see how these two play it. Here we go, and a couple of people have started their flying laps, including one Noah 48 NEF1, who is in the middle of Sector 1 at the moment, and he's using a lot of battery down these first two straights. As this is something I'm very curious. Let's go on board with Nasi here for the S section. What I'm curious, can you go flat out through these S's? Let's just wait and see. There's a slight lift going through the first part, but is it flat out for the rest of it? Yes, it is. It's completely flat out through that S section. That's impressive, that. And that is a lot of downforce, if nothing else. Noah's about to cross line. 14.303, I think it's the fastest time we've seen so far. On a set of softs as well. Nasi, I would imagine, is going to beat that, maybe even with a 113. No, just misses out, but goes quicker than Noah. Where is Tess in all of this? He is going through the stadium section as we speak. Noah's quicker than both Red Bulls and a BT. Where is Tess going to end up? Is it going to be provisional P1? Yes, it is, by a tenth of a second. Djokovic is next to cross line along with his teammate Wigan. Only P7. Djokovic only P8. Oh, I had an absolutely shocker of a lap. Djokovic there with a 127. Okay, so that's not competitive lap one bit. So then Matty and Samo. Matty ahead of Samo here. Let's see, tucks it inside, 15.1 and a 15.7. So not a brilliant first run for the Scuderia Ferrari on the softs, but it is close up front between YPC Tess and Nasi 31, which was expected. The gap is just over a tenth of a second at the front. Then we have Noah in P3. That was slightly more unexpected, perhaps, with Squidge and Spenclose in P4 and 5. But Noah showing good pace here at the Mexican Grand Prix circuit. Djokovic, though, has had an absolute howler on his first lap. As here we go, he's just going to put a banker in, and that banker is good enough for P4. So that's a decent first time by Djokovic. Has given himself something to play for his second run. Before those Ferrari, they need to find something here, and they need to find it quick. BT, the only car really within touching distance. That is interesting. Martin only really close to BT, not getting close to the Red Bull as he has on the last couple of races as well. He's been competing quite regularly with the Red Bull and even Djokovic and Tess as well. But we've seen this on this game. Matty's gone from a qualifying specialist to almost a race specialist now. He's just lost that bit of qualifying pace, but is that much quicker in the Grand Prix. So then, not a lot going on. Nasi's coming out early here, which I don't really understand the reasoning for. As it could potentially be fuel for 2 runs. But he is the only car out on track at the moment, which means he's gonna get all the coverage time in the world. Nasi 31, and no one coming out of the pit lane quite yet. We still have 4:30 to go. So a long way to go in this session. And what Nasi's doing right now is actually quite smart. Just leaving himself a bit of room for error. The question is, how much is Tess going to be able to improve on that 14.141? That is a very good first sector from Nasi. Goes purple. Now through VSs once again, it'll be hard to improve much going through here as they're now flat. But by those lines, I would imagine you can improve by a couple of hundreds or 2. And it's just elegant, Nasi's driving. It's so incredibly smooth. Hard braking into the stadium sections. Looks incredibly flowing, the way he handles that car. Nasi obviously started the season with the Scuderia, now rejoining with Mercedes, and he goes fastest out of anyone by a couple of thousandths of a second, takes provisional pole position away from YPC Tess. Wigan now the only other car out on track, 2:50 to go. The question is, can Nasi now get back into the pit lane with a quick effort here, and maybe even go for one more run? If he can, he's timed this to absolute perfection. If he's going to be able to make that work, it's going to be incredibly tight. Now people are starting to come out of the pit lane. And is Wigan going to be given a little tow by the Red Bull? No, not really. Was a decent first and second sector from Wiggins, just heading into middle part of the second sector, it's the S section. And once again, completely flat through there, which is probably quite crucial then for getting a decent lap. Wiggins massively improving on this run as well, so I expect to see him up a couple of positions if nothing else. Is that maybe banking on a bit of track evolution? Nasi is unlikely to be able to make it out again. He will not, unfortunately. So Nasi has placed his bid for pole position. It's up to Tess to beat it. Wigan improves up at P7. It's going to be his best effort in this session. Nasi at the moment in P1. Tess needs to improve though by a couple of thousandths, not too much. As Nasi is saying he just wants to track to himself, which is a decent idea. Question is, how good is that track evolution? Quite curious to know. Djokovic then is improving, but the question is, how much is he improving? 0.3 of a second. Could he potentially challenge for pole position if he has a decent final sector? He's got a car right ahead of him. Who is that? Oh, it's just an invalidation from Djokovic. And that is his session over and done for. P4 is a good time. It was a good thing he set that bank lap. It was needed in the end. Noah fails to improve. Djokovic's session is over. He was improving by a couple attempts. Could have qualified P2, maybe even P1. But it's going to be P5 at the moment for Djokovic because Squidge has gone past into P3. Tess, is he going to be able to improve heading through the sector split? This is going to be do or die news for Nasidis. Tess is improving, not by a massive amount, needs to keep it clean through this final sector. He's not kept it clean, he's had a little bit of a lockup that did not look as good as it could have been. It's going to be close on the run down to the line. Is it going to be good enough? Yes it is, by a couple attempts of a second. Into the 13th, and wipes the Test, takes pole position for the Mexican Grand Prix. Samo is gonna finish the session in P10. Matty in P7. BT, what is he gonna be able to do? He is improving. Is he gonna be able to take Wigan and Matty right at the end here? But Tess takes pole position for the Mexican Grand Prix van. BT comes across line. P7 takes Matty and takes Wigan back. But why PC Test then with 113.894? But it is incredibly close between him and Nasi. Squidge is there as well. It's not a massive gap, as we kind of gotten almost used to over the last couple of weeks in qualifying. They're very much test. Let's see what happens for the Grand Prix. No other good performance in P4. Djokovic will be disappointed with his P5. Spenclose in P6, followed by Beat in P7, Matty in P8, Wigan in P9, Samo in 10th. But then that is the qualifying session for the Mexican Grand Prix over. We can see just over a second's worth of split in Q3 here. 0.2 of a second between Tess and Nasi. Not a massive margin, but still a margin that Tess is going to be really happy with. That's going to be it for a couple of minutes then until we get this Grand Prix underway. Just going to be going for a quick break. This is all the drivers. So we'll be right back in a minute or two's time to get this race underway. So everyone just stay tuned because we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Alright then, everyone. Hello and welcome back to newer F1 Esports. We're here for the 15th round of the championship for the Grand Prix. The qualifying session has just concluded, and once again we have Tess on pole position. Nasi put in a valiant effort on his first race back, but he ended up just over 2 tenths behind. YPC Tess just unstoppable in qualifying at the moment. But the gaps are getting smaller and smaller. I can confirm as well that the ready up has been given. We'll be going racing in just about a minute or two. Well then, the championship well and truly is on the line. Djokovic has out-qualified Matti, which is all that he's having to do right now. Matti needs to beat Djokovic, and he needs to be doing it by 8 points or more in order to keep this championship mathematically alive until next week in Brazil. Is it next week with 3 rounds to go after this one? So then the formation lap is underway then. Tess takes the green flag ahead of Nasi, and Squidge and P3 with a good qualifying effort just behind Nasi in the end by I think 700ths of a second. Noah with a good qualifying effort as well in P4. Let's see if we can convert that into a good race finish with Djokovic in P5. Spenclose in P6 is running off a good qualifying effort, and so is Beat in P7. Matt will be disappointed with that P8 after having put a lot of hours in this week doing practice for this one. But let's see if that converts into a good race pace. Wigan in P9, Zamabamo in P10 yet again. He's going to be getting ever so frustrated with that P10. Jamar in P11, followed by Ginsters in 12th, Darren in 13th, Iwatts in 14th. Hybrid didn't really get a chance in Q2, getting disqualified for whatever reason in P15, JV8 and Ipstud 16th and 17th respectively. So then it's a quick formation lap around here as well. Takes just over a minute and a half to do before we get this race underway, as the last cars are now entering the stadium section, just trying to heat up their tires. Tess is going to line it up on the outside. I don't know if you want to start on the outside or the inside here. I don't think it matters, but it is a long run down into turn 1. The slipstream is going to take effect heading in to the first corner. It's a hard braking zone, maybe the hardest heading into the first corner, maybe apart from Monza. We'll wait and see, but the cars are all lined up on the grid and we are ready to go. Here we go then, those red lights are coming on. It is 5 red lights and it is lights out, and away we go here, and Tess gets away well. So does Nasi. He's going to be challenging down the inside. That McLaren got a bit of a worse start than the Red Bull, who is sweeping around the outside, but Tess gets away really well into the second phase of the start. He's not going to be challenging into turn 1. Squidge though, maybe around the outside of Nasi, no, but it does go around the outside of Noah 48 and NEF1, and that is all that he had to do on, or defending from Noah 48, and didn't get past him, sorry. It's a relatively calm start at the moment. Djokovic though, sweeping around the outside of Noah heading into turn 4 and 5, and Noah now under pressure for Spenclose and Matty as well. Matty up position on a BT. Jamer and Zama are now getting a bit wobbly on Hybrid. 3 positions up on the start as well. It's had a good one. It's a calm start for everyone involved. I was down 3 positions on it though, didn't get the best of getaways, I don't think. 3 positions down, biggest loser on the start, biggest gainer on the start is Hybrid up 3 positions. So no massive incidents. Fast lap is what you always want to see. But Nasi following Tess closely here on his return to NEF1. So let's see how effective the slipstream is. DRS is enabled on lap 2, remember that. So DRS is going to be available next time by coming out of the S's. A lot of sparks are on that Alpine. A lot of sparks. No DRS yet. Djokovic 2 temps behind Squidge. Is he close enough to send one maybe down inside of the Red Bull? No, he's not. But he's going to be thinking about it for sure. Where's Matty in all this? P7 at the moment. Trying to get past Spenclose into P6. As a predicted one stop at the moment, medium to hard, and I believe most people have started on that medium tire, either mediums or hards on every single car of the field. There's nothing too exciting going on, but Nasi's within striking distance of Tess now, heading on to the back straight, or the start-finish straight for the first time with DRS van. Lap 2 out of 36, this race is going to go by relatively quickly. Here we go then, YBC Tess versus Nasi 31. I don't think there's too much Tess going to be able to do about this one. On lap 3 out of 36, Nasi goes by with the aid of DRS. And he's now got defensive DRS on the next straight as well to try to break away a little bit. Tess is just going to be able to survive now because here comes Squidge as well with that DRS. Djokovic is right there for the taking as well. How much is he going to be able to deploy? Not too much, and Squidge just has that covered. As Tess is now just going to be trying to follow Nasi through. So at the moment, this is turning into one long DRS train. P1 down to P8, or thereabout. All within DRS of each other. So this is going to be interesting. Tess just losing a bit of time to Nasi, but not a substantial amount. Hybrid freezing time penalty for multiple track limit warnings. And it's through the stadium section where Tess is really pacey by the look of things. And it could prove difficult to overtake for that reason. Tess now trying to put a move on Nasi, but nothing is going to bite yet. We'll have one more go at it into turn 5. Turn 4, sorry. And just going to allow himself to stay with that Alpine. Spenclose very close to the back of Noah 48. Djokovic has been unable to get past the Red Bull off Squidge. We're already on lap 4, everyone. Lap times of about 1 minute 20 here, so this is going to absolutely fly by. At the moment, Djokovic is the champion of Season 8. So got a problem for Ipsk dude under the S's. Now let's see Tess on Nasi 31 once again down the main straight. I think Nasi might just have this covered. Tess is closing in towards that fast corner, but no, not quite. As Djokovic is looking really punchy on the back of Squidge now. But it is a big train. There's Nasi all the way down to Matty Adam. Beatty's fallen about 3 seconds behind Matty already on lap 5 out of 36 here. And then there's another little bit of a train with him, Wigan, and Jamar. It's going to be hard to break away from that train, especially for the leaders. For Nasi, it's going to be next to impossible to break away from Tess, unless Squidge can maybe get involved in that and start holding everyone up a little bit. But this is going to be a strategic race of when you want to get overtaken, when you want to overtake. And Tess has already figured that out. He's in no rush to overtake as of yet, happy to just sit behind the LP, or the Mercedes, sorry, and wait for his moment. A moment which might come quite soon, because on lap 6 out of 36, he's got the run on him. And that move is done, sealed, and settled before we even get to the braking zone. Tess reclaims the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix. And as now, no defensive DRS to fight that one. Spent close at a moment coming out of turn 3, but has managed to hold it. Left Matty Govo up to P6. Tess now is going to try to do everything he can to break away. Let's see how Nassi's been able to follow him through these S's. And this dose of DRS is going to be infuriating to everyone trying to break away as well. It just gives you that about 0.2 of a second that you need in order to stay with. Breaking away here is going to be next to impossible. It's going to be a NASCAR race, this. Let's wait and see how it goes. It's going to be an interesting one. Nassi on Tess then is going to try to go straight back at him. He's already got the run. And Tess is moving to the outside, basically surrendering that position almost. Djokovic is getting wiggly, trying to find a gap on Squidge 2017, but Squidge is having none of it, and Djokovic remains in P4. Nassivo takes back the lead of the Grand Prix. Lap 7 out of 36 already. And Matty's going side by side with no, actually. How did that happen? Unfortunately, we'll never know. What we do know is that the outcome did not change anything. Matt is still in P6 behind Noah 48 in the McLaren. Former teammates from last season. Oh, that's a problem for Tess. No, that's a massive lag spike from Tess, actually. That is 2 massive lag spikes from Tess, and that's going to be worrying for Squidge. Trying to get past that. As here we go, Nassi goes defensive. Is Tess going to have a look down the inside? No, but that's going to allow Squidge to maybe have a look on YPC Tess. But at the moment, Tess is once again just still holding station behind Nassi 31. This is going to be one of those races. I don't know if anyone remembers Brazil last season, where we just had overtakes for the lead every single race, where it turned to the point of being thoroughly unentertaining. And I have a feeling that this battle for the lead might become the same. But there's a lot of people involved in it. Everyone from P1 to P7 is involved in this battle for the lead. As we have had a problem for Wigan 71 through the S's, and I believe he's the first to be claimed by that potential oversteer. Wigan's now down to P15 and only ahead of the Saubers. Djokovic so close again to Squidge, but he just can't get by the Red Bull. Cannot find the way past. Oh, as the two make contact, Djokovic touching the inside of Squidge, and he's slowing down to let that one go immediately, I think, which is good sportsmanship. Novo capitalizing on that. That is good sportsmanship from Djokovic, just letting that position go, but at the moment that might mean that the championship is leaning slightly more in Matty's favour. It's broken up the train somewhat. Matty's now up in a podium position. Nassi and Tess has ran away with this one, and Matty's not within DRS, and this is going to be a problem for Matty now. And he's losing that little bit of ground test, but he's going to be able to recover that now on the DRS straight. And Tess in a position now where it's looking like he's not interested in trying to attack Nassi. He's potentially just trying to wear him down that little bit. Just waiting for Nassi to overuse his tires, overuse his fuel, overuse his battery, and then be able to fly past him and try to break away. As Nassi's charging up his battery. And Djokovic now with 3 second time of multiple track limit warnings, and this is not going Djokovic's way at the moment. So here we go, once again with the DRS, but this time he's closing in, and this time he gets past Nassi51, who can't do anything about that one. Matty, they're in the distance, but he's not able to hang with these two quite. 1.3 seconds behind, but Matty's race pace is better than his quali pace. We absolutely can confirm that. But Tess now is breaking away ever so slightly from that Mercedes. And is this what Tess was trying? Just give it everything for a lap and see if he can punch out a DRS. Because if he's tried that, it's not really worked. Nassi's still there. And he's starting to bring the Ferrari and Matty along with him. As the gap is just under a second, DRS is still going to be enabled for the next 2 straight, and that's going to allow Nassi to catch back up ever so slightly. As Nassi now within half a second of Tess once again. Lap 12 out of 36. We're already a third way through this race, and it's going by at a rapid pace. Squidge now behind Noah 48, Spen close behind him, Djokovic with 3 second time penalty and 2.6 behind the Red Bull. And this race has not turned out the way he wanted to after contact with, I think it was Squidge earlier on. Let that go, but it did cost him a lot of time. So here we go, Nassi on YPC Tess. He is closing. Is he maybe gonna bring a move down to the braking zone for the first time this race? Gets very close. Nah, it's done before the braking zone. Nassi retakes the lead of the Grand Prix then. And this is almost getting a bit silly now. But he's brought Matty, Noah, Squidge, and Spenclose back into this little train. And I'm sure they're all delighted. Tell you who's not making anything of this at the moment is Djokovic, who's struggling for pace right now, down in P7. A 7th place that is worth 6 points at the moment, and Matt is currently up in a 3rd place, which gives out 15. So right now, the championship is alive until next week in Brazil. For the time being, by my calculations, I might be wrong. Please correct me if I am. But that is my quick calculation. We'll do a proper one after the race. Djokovic pulls the trigger to come into pit. He's the first one to do so. As there goes Tess past Nassi again. I don't know if you watching is okay with me just unenthusiastically saying we have an overtake for the lead, but right now it's not overly entertaining seeing that. I'm also seeing it every other lap, so I'm not gonna make a big fuss out of it. We're gonna get a couple of more of those this race. Matty though now right on the chuff of his former teammate Nassi Fatiwan. And those mediums now are truly coming alive for the Ferrari man. As two cars are coming into pit, it is Nassi and it is Matty pulling for an undercut now. Tess has got to hurry it up here. Cannot allow himself to be undercut by too much and lose that DRS. That could be disastrous. Noah 48 then in P2. 1.3 seconds behind with no DRS now for the first time in this race. Spenclose staying out as well, and so is Samo. Nassi and Matty coming out P5 and P6. And Hybrid's going to get involved in that, getting out just ahead of the pairing. They do not want to be stuck behind the McLaren. And they won't be. But give you a little dose of DRS and this undercut might just work. Wait and see. Nassi and Matty Van, former teammates from this season actually, for Scuderia before Nassi had to leave the league for personal reasons. Now he is back, but a racing under Mercedes as that vacant slot in Ferrari was filled by Samo Bamo, who's done a decent job. It doesn't really show on the points table over the last 4 races, but he has done a very decent job in that second Ferrari. As Tess is now in the pit lane, the question is, where is he coming out in regards to his rival for this race, Nassi Fatiwan? Tess is coming out of pit lane now. And is he going to be undercut by Nassi here? Yes, he is. And is he going to be undercut by Matty? Yes, he is. Matty now as well swoops through Nassi to take, effectively, the lead of this race. So that's a hell of a move from Matty. Up to third to first with a brilliant strategy. And now he has his teammate ahead of him as well. And I'm sure Matty would love for Sam Obama to go long on this stint. And he's geared up for it. Hard tyres on. And I'm sure Matty would love Samo to just hold Nassi and Tess a little bit. They are closing up to the back of that second Ferrari, and this could be a strategic masterclass if it is intentional by the Scuderia. Djokovic struggling at the moment on his second set of hards, but he's getting closer to the Red Bull. As Nassi now is going past Matty on the start-finish straight. And Nassi does not fancy Matty being allowed to catch up to his teammate in first. That would be absolutely catastrophic for his race. Lap 17 out of 36. We're approaching half race distance. Amabamo's leading this Grand Prix. Yet to make his pit stop. Nasi and Matty are catching him at a rate of knots, and Tess is there as well. Nasi with the fastest lap of this race so far, and Matty is gonna go for a cheeky little move down the inside, and he gets that move done. So let's see how Ferrari are able to play this. Matty now is coming up on the back of his teammate. It is crucial that it does so whilst in the lead. Osama's not going to be able to do anything. He's not going to hold his teammate up, but his goal is going to be to hold Nasi and Tess up for as much as he can. Matty now within DRS distance, and this might be a swallow job for both Matty and Nasi. Samo, no DRS here. Is Nasi going to be able to get past the second Ferrari as well? He's going to be poised to go around the outside of him. Samo going to try to make himself as wide as possible. The two make contact. Is that going to interrupt Tess's race? Just a little bit, but that mainly interrupts Samo's race, who lost 2 positions in the span of 1 corner, and that's done nothing for Matty's race, unfortunately. They picked the wrong time on track to get that done, and Nasi still very much with Matty for the second stage of the Grand Prix. So here we are, the battle between Noah, Squidge and Spenklos. Djokovic 2.5 seconds back from that little battle, but he is over 9 seconds ahead of Hybrid, crucially enough for him. BT now freezing down to multiple track limit warnings, as Samo has come into the pit lane. Matty's lost the position to Nasi, but he's holding on to Wipe C-Test, from Wipe C-Test. There's a lot going on out front. Hybrid at the moment has just come out of pit lane by the look of things on his set of medium tires. BT is trying to make it past IWAS for P10. Samo's just come out of pit lane, a couple of seconds behind Jamers. Let's see if he can start eating that gap up. Spenklos is just about to get past. Noah heading into the stadium section. Just pull that off. But that Red Bull gets ever so squabbly. Now let's see as well. Will Matty be able to reclaim the lead on lap 21? Yes, he does. That is Ips Dude becomes the first retiree of this session in the pit lane as well, which is going to trigger a penalty post race probably, unless anything extraordinary happens. This isn't allowed. That is the first retiree of the Mexican Grand Prix. Matty Van leads by 4/10 of a second over Nasi and Tess, with Squidge in P4 and Noah in P5. But that top three has broken away. It is time for Djokovic to start getting a move on in this race as well now. Matty's up. Right now in P1, could turn to P2, even P3 here with a bit of bad luck. But Djokovic needs to start gaining places now. Oh, as the two cars out of him go side by side into bang wheels, Tess and Nasi. Matty gonna try to come through here, but without DRS, you can't really do too much. Tess, for the first time in a while, retakes the lead of the Grand Prix, but they make contact again. Tess and Nasi, and Matty's right there for the taking. Matty down the inside of both of them on the hairpin, 3 wide into that corner. Tess gets shoved wide. Nasi in the middle, Matty on the outside, and he gets that move done. Matty Adams 16, what a move! Down the inside and round the outside of both Nasi and Tess, 3 wide into a corner. We wouldn't want to go too wide, and now Nasi might have a move around the outside in stadium section. No, he doesn't. But what a move from Matty. Unfortunately, might be done once again down the back straight here. But Jesus Christ, that's racing put on display for us. That is a brilliant battle. Unfortunately, didn't get a better angle of that, and that's a shame. But Matty, Nasi, and Tess, thank you for that bit of entertainment. Virtual safety car here on lap 23. What is that for? What has gone on? Has JV8 potentially had an issue? So the race is neutralized then for a little bit of time. See if anyone maybe just does a cheeky move into the pit lane. Jamar does. Anyone else for a 2-stopper is going to get that done now, including one Djokovic. Gets a move on into the pit lane. Say Beat has been disqualified from the race for being parked in a dangerous location. What's gone on there? That looks unfortunately like a wheel issue for BT VAT. The virtual safety car is prolonged for a little bit of time, man. But here we go, the race is restarted and Matty aced that restart. And now the gap is a second. Can he capitalize on that? No, he can't. Nasi's back within a 1 second gap, just over. Oh, that would have been close at the sector split. We'll wait and see if Nasi does have the DRS on him. That's going to be crucial for his race. If it doesn't, he does have the DRS and he's going to be able to catch up. Oh, but that was close for Matty. Samo got it wrong, and that is a drive-through penalty for the Scotsman in the other Ferrari. At a race as well, where Ferrari at the moment are taking a big chunk out of Aston Martin's lead. That is everything that Sam Obama didn't need right now. Djokovic now running a race of his own. He's not going to be able to influence what happens in the championship today. Unless we have a safety car, it looks like the championship will go on mathematically to Brazil. The question is Matty going to be able to bring home another victory this season? Or is it going to be Nasi, or is it going to be YPC Tess? Here we go then, once again, down the back straight for the 25th time this race. And Nasi's going to fly past Matty. Tess is going to go past Matty as well. Now we're going to have a repeat of the same battle that we had a lap or two ago. We'll wait and see. Tess on the inside and Nassi on the outside. Matty now on a bit of a hunt for YPC Tess. This time Matty's just going to have to surrender to being P3 for a little bit. And Tess is all over the back of Nassi. Now we're gonna have DRS on this restarted race lap. 25, less than 10 laps to go now. Nassi, Tess, and Matty are your main protagonists for this one. Nassi, is he gonna be able to pull away from Tess here? No, he's not. But he's not gonna be under attack yet. Matty though is attacking Tess down the inside, and he's sending one down the inside of Nassi, and that was clumsy from Matty. That was over-opportunistic if I've ever seen it. And Matty is now losing ground in that fight out of DRS range. And that was silly from Matty. That was well above what he was able to pull off on the brakes. And is that him potentially out this battle now if they leave him behind? Wait and see. Matty tried something, but it really did not work. So when Nassi and Tess. Matty now out of that fight for the time being, if nothing else, unless Nassi and Tess slow each other down a little bit. This is now a two-way fight for the lead between Nassi and Tess. Tess down the inside of Nassi into turn one, and Nassi's not going to fight that one too hard. Might fancy a go back at him, but Tess is going to have defensive DRS on this next raid as well, which is absolutely stupid. Why, FIA, would you do that? I do not know. But Tess then has the lead of the Grand Prix from Nassi and Matty, 1.7 seconds behind now in P3. But he's keeping the championship alive. Samo now, having served his drive-through as well, is into the point still in P10 with no penalties. Is going to benefit off Jamar from that. Actually gets past Jamar anyway. I can't see where. Through 10, 6, 7 gets past Jamar. Jamar though gets back past him on the exit. As here we go, and Nassi flies past Tess on the main straight. Now Nassi's back into the lead of this race. Tess is having to fight for this one. Matty's there as well if anything was to happen, but he cost himself a lot of time. No MP4 holding up the Red Bulls. Oh, but he just gets a bit of a wobble on, and that has caused contact with Squidge there. I don't know if that's actually cost Squidge the chance of an overtake. Unfortunately, I didn't get an eyes on what's happened. Now Samo passes Valway Jamar again for P9. He's now gonna go after Wigan 71. As here we go, Squidge on Noah. Yellow flags in sector 1. That's a Sour Bruce had a problem. JV8 coming out of the last corner. He's parked in an awkward place. Heading into the pit lane though. Let's see, Squidge then with another dose of DRS. Can I get past Noah 48? Not on this occasion, but Noah does have that 3-second time penalty. So both the Red Bulls might not be too fussed about being where they are. Djokovic, significant amount behind, is not going to be able to catch them this race. So then, with just over 5 laps to go, Nasi leads this race from Tess. Matt is falling behind by about 2 seconds after a mistake in turn 1 a couple of laps ago. Tried to go for a move down the inside, did not work out for him, and now he's been kind of dropped from this battle for the lead. Squidge in P4, followed by followed by Spenkler's P5. Noah's now fallen back 2 positions down to P6, and Djokovic P7, followed by Wiener P8. Fastest lap point at the moment goes to Ginstis. As Hybrid's going to be trying to get past, I was not going to be able to do so into turn 1 of him, but is he going to be able to maybe pull a move into turn 4 and 5? Just a little bit too far back to think about it on this occasion. Needs to just get a bit closer. And now then lap 31 out of 36. 5 laps to go, and now this battle for the lead is heating up. Is it going to be Nasi on his debut back, or is it going to be YPC Tess, the ever-experienced Alpine driver who's now started picking up wins on almost a majority of the races that he's participating in. Ginstis, 3-second time penalty, multiple track limit warnings. And Tess is just staying behind Nasi for the time being. Lap 31 out of 36. Might he potentially just wait there until the final lap of this race? I doubt it, because he's now within 4/10 of a second. He's got to make a move at this range. I don't think he'll have too much of a choice unless he just shuts his battery off completely. Which is completely against the race's nature, because here comes YPC Tess on Nasi 31 heading into turn 1. No, he's just dropping back. Tess at the moment has no interest in battling Nasi for lead as of yet. And this is probably going to allow both drivers to just completely recharge everything. Just wait for that final lap. But Tess has done this to Matti in Baku, where he snatched a win from him on the last possible moment. And is he going to do the same here to Nasi? You can see that Tess is just massively closing in, even under that small straight before the stadium section. He's got no interest in overtaking. as the Red Bulls are going to war with each other, and Noah 48, and that is a mistake from Squidge, an unforced error, and how big is that going to be? Not massive. That could be big for the championship if it was bigger, because that could have allowed Djokovic to maybe just seal the title today, but Squidge just manages to catch that, but he's lost ground. But then he has the advantage of just having to make up a bit of ground on both Noah and Spenklos in order to gain those two positions back. He's got no time penalties, has Squidge, so he'll be able to just give that a go. Nassi and Tess now has neutralized this race out in front. Matty, he's going to be screaming and kicking that he's not involved in this, but he's on the way to another good podium and keeping this championship alive, when maybe he shouldn't have been able to heading into this race. Djokovic has not run a full free race at all today, which is why he's down in P7. A little bit of a contact with Squidge earlier on, and after that, on this second stint, the pace has just kind of fallen off a little bit as well. And YPC Test with immense closing speed here. This is basically just showing that at this track, with a full battery, you can overtake at will, which is a bit of a shame, really. With this game, the ERS system's a bit too powerful. But then we have 2 laps to go. Nassi or Tess? Who is it going to be? Nassi ideally would see Tess past them on this next run. And Tess is going to have no interest in that whatsoever. And this is going to go down once again to the final lap of this race. Unless Nassi just basically pulls over and allows the Alpine to disappear down the road. Whilst this is going on, Matty's actually arriving onto the scene. And this has got to light a fire under these guys. Because now they got a Ferrari coming up behind them who's looking racy. But then we have just over 1 lap to go. Tess or Nassi? Tess, with DRS heading into the stadium section, is completely disinterested. Nassi, is he going to try something, or is he going to try to defend this somehow with Tess with full battery and DRS enabled down that main straight? Tess is going to be so focused on the exit, I don't think Nassi is going to be able to do anything about this one. But he's for sure going to try. Here comes YPC Tess, and that closing speed is ridiculous. And there's nothing you can do even if you want to, and that bothers me. It is overtaking a will at certain circuits, and look how they left Matty behind 6 times off a second on the straight. But that properly bothers me, how you can just do that. It's a good strategy from Tess, it is, and I applaud him for it, but it bothers me that you can just overtake at will like that. Basically, you can sit back, and it's not the first time it's been done this season, or on this game, or on even last year's game as well. But it does kind of take the fun out of it when you can sit behind someone for so many laps, and then just go past them basically at will on the last lap. It becomes it's unpure racing. It's unpure racing, but Tess has played this one beautifully and massively deserves the win. Nassi, on this return to NEF1, has had an absolutely brilliant race, and this should take nothing away from that. Rejoins newer F1 Esports with a second place, which is ever so well earned. Matty did everything he could, but he's going to be P2 in the end. Tess takes the checkered flag for the Mexican Grand Prix. Nasi in P2 with Matty in P3. Spanklos is going to come home to take a well-earned P4 in the end. And he is followed by Squidge 2017 in P5. Squidge actually takes him across the line. Spanklos just slows down a little bit. Noah Van, P6 across the line with Djokovic in P7. And by a rough estimate, I don't think Djokovic claimed the fastest lap there. That is 15 points to Matty Adams 16. That is 6 points to Djokovic. And that means the championship remains alive for another week. By my estimate, the championship remains alive for another week. I'm awaiting confirmation by everyone else, but from what I can calculate off the top of my head, then Djokovic is not yet champion. Matty's just done enough on this occasion to keep it alive heading into Brazil. Wigan comes across for a P8, Samo in P9. I think that was Jamar in P10. Don't quote me on it quite yet, but I think it was so. Driver of the day goes to Matty Adams, 16 according to the game. I'm inclined to agree. A little bit of a mistake here and there, but very well recovered from, I think it was P8 in qualifying. Just showing that he's got the race pace to hang with the very top guys. But the qualifying pace just isn't quite there for him right now. But it is coming, I'm sure, and the race wins are going to start coming more for him towards the end of this season and maybe towards the start of the next one. But for now then, YPC Test takes another win this season. Welcome back, Nasi, to NEF1, and Matty, yet another podium and more points towards this championship challenge. Championship challenge that now appears impossible, but it is still mathematically possible from what I can tell. Iwas takes a point there in P10. Not Jamar, Iwas is his teammate just behind Samabamo. Wigan, Tess takes the fastest lap at the end, so 26 points, maximum points haul. Djokovic in P7 takes 6 points, Matty takes 15. So Matty has just done enough by my estimate. Matty still on board the championship by 1 point. We are getting that confirmed now. So he's just done enough. It is incredibly close, but the championship is going to be well and truly on display next week out in Brazil as well. So don't miss out on that, as we will most likely be crowning our 3-time NEF1 champion next week. Tess, Nasi, Matty, thank you for a brilliant show tonight, especially that little battle lap, was it 22? Was an absolutely phenomenal display. Well, 1 week until we go to, in my opinion, the best track on the NEF1 calendar for the Brazilian Grand Prix at Interlagos. Until then, thank you so much for watching yet another race here in NEF1. We'll see you in a week's time. Until then, stay safe, have a good one everyone, and peace out.